Hey guys, Drake from State Farm 2018 here again, and I don't even feel like doing this introduction. You read the title, you know what this is about.
Pull the trigger, ain't nobody gonna do for you.
So today I'm going to be talking about this video made by this guy named MegaDoopTV, and just how inept, incompetent, uninformed, and idiotic it is. It is one of the worst videos on YouTube. Believe me when I say this, that every point that he makes in this video is 100% not true, and is just annoyingly not true. Seriously, some of these points are so erratic and detached from reality, I don't know how he even was able to formulate some of them. Before I actually cover this fucking horrendous content of the video, I'm going to talk from a technical perspective. First of all, this guy slurs way too much.
Hey guys, I'm MegaDoopTV here, and it's time for another video.
Actually, the way he talks reminds me a lot of Lumpy Space Princess from Adventure Time.
Now, for those of you guys who watch my streams, you would know that a Phantom Strider video has been due for quite a while now.
What? No way, it's super easy.
I don't know if he can help it, but it's just very prevalent and distracting. I can barely understand what he says. Fortunately, I can understand what he says, because for the most of the video, he's screaming at the top of his lungs like he has his mic 14 inches down his throat. But of course, it's not throughout the whole video, because the audio balancing in this video is non-existent. In this video, he tries to provide intelligent counterpoints to Strider's very valid cases. And, it just comes off as very pathetic, lazy, and incompetent. So incompetent and lazy that I barely really want to make this video, but I have to because I know he's going to watch it eventually. And I barely want to make this video because I don't see any case in where this guy could reasonably make an intelligent counterpoint to someone. An intelligent rebuttal. It's just so detached from him that I don't think he could even possibly do it. To me, making this video seems like me making a video about a blind person because he can't see. It's just something he's not capable of even grasping. All joking aside, I'm gonna continue making this video because I know he can help it. Alright, now let's fucking dive into the actual video. But please be warned, this video may make you want to poison yourself, or at least contribute to thoughts of poisoning yourself, because of its infuriating ineptitude. Hey, nice thumbnail. I remember when I used MS Paint for my YouTube thumbnails, when I was a freaking 7th grader who didn't care about production values. Hey, why isn't Mike Tyson's Punch-Out? How's that relevant in the slightest? This is a huge problem with YouTube videos, just putting random background footage in because they don't know what to put. Because they aren't deft enough with the software to know what to put.
I think he makes a lot of bad points in a lot of his videos. Now, Phantom Strider, if you guys are not aware, is a one of those cartoon reviewers, mainly top countdown videos, and he gives his opinions on sorts of things. You get the gist. No, I don't like him.
Okay, so really remember that line. I don't like him. It'll be important later on. Because one of the points that you made throughout the video you just couldn't shut the hell up about is that Phantom Strider contradicts himself. First of all, that's 100% not true. You're the one that contradicts yourself, and I'm about to showcase just how much you contradict yourself.
I actually take criticism. His editing is actually not that bad, and he does bring up some decent points.
If these idiotic contradicting words sound familiar, that's because it's essentially the same thing that Rice Gum does in every one of his videos, where he's just trying to change his opinion so that way people aren't mad at him. So that way the people watching this is like, oh, he doesn't hate Phantom Strider.
So honestly, I don't really hate Phantom Strider.
Sorry, what?
I don't really hate Phantom Strider.
But didn't you just say?
No, I don't like him.
And Strider's the one that contradicts himself. How are you even missing this? Everything you're saying right now is literally contradicting what you said half a minute ago. See, this is the reason why you're supposed to write a script for YouTube videos nowadays. So that way you don't make a point that counteracts one of your other points, and so that way you don't make all these incidental noises that make you sound like you've got a problem.
Now, Phantom Strider, if you guys are not aware, is a one of those cartoon reviewers, but he's not so much, well, he is kind of a reviewer, but he makes mainly top countdown videos. off. I think he makes a lot of bad points in a lot of his videos. And he does bring up some decent points.
Just kill me! Just fucking kill me!
Happy Tree Friends never appealed to me. At all. The only joke there ever seemed to be was continually seeing these animals mutilated.
It was also the creative ways on how they got mutilated in the show, and sometimes just the surprise factor of it all.
No. Happy Tree Friends is not creative or surprising. It is the exact opposite. Because each episode is exactly the fucking same, down to the fucking template that they use. I mean, I'm being 100% serious. I really don't like the show, because I don't even consider it a show, because it's not creative, there's nothing new it brings to the table, it's just a compilation of watching these animated characters die. It's not a black comedy, just because there's only one joke in the entire show, and that is that the characters die. Ha! Isn't this such a lol parody? Aren't you glad that you're watching this? Happy Tree Friends is so funny. It's such a great avant-garde show. It's not even good on a technical level. It's not even passable, because it's just one joke told 110 fucking times. And it's not funny. It's not even engaging. I don't see why people like it. It's fucking boring. And to you pretentious 6th grade fuckers who think it's a horror show, clearly are confused on the definition of horror. Horror is intended to scare you, and a part of that scare part and the mortal outcome of these characters is actually wanting these characters to survive. I have no motivation as to why I want these characters to survive. Why should I be shocked or scared when they die? And it's not a parody, because a parody has to provide some sort of commentary. It's not a parody of kids' shows, it's not a spoof, it's not anything. It's a lazy, cheaply animated thing that a bunch of 6th graders watch to be edgy while they circle jerk it. And every single one of his points made in the video are not backed up by anything, or at least they're not visibly backed up by anything. But your vacuous enjoyment of this husk of a cartoon, this cartoon's existence is a waste of processing power and a waste of money.
I never felt like there was any artistic or clever context as to why they were in these situations. It just feels like it's purely for the shock value of watching them die.
I mean, the show is a black comedy, so the fact that it uses shock value for a lot of its humor really should not be an issue. And also, I just gotta ask this legitimate question. What clever or artistic context can you even put into something like Happy Tree Friends that explains why they die so easily?
And your point where you say, what clever point could you put into something like Happy Tree Friends? You're clearly missing what Phantom Strider is saying entirely. What he's saying is that HTF could have been developed differently and have us a reason as to why we should care about them dying, or at least have a reason as to why we should laugh at them dying. Something. Anything. You know that episode of Teen Titans Go to the Fourth Wall? Where it's like, okay, we're not going to do all this rude humor. We're going to do all this high-class, top-quality humor. Do you like us now? Fuck you, cunts. That's essentially what I'm hearing here. Where it's like, if it's not stupid, it must be super high-class and very valuable. That seems to be this guy's defense mechanism.
It reminds me of something like the TV show Jackass in animated form.
Okay, this is something that annoys me with a lot of cartoon reviewers, and that is the bad comparisons. This comparison, on the other hand, is absolute garbage. Happy Tree Friends is a show about animals being mutilated while certain plot lines play out. Jackass is a show about guys filming dangerous stunts and pranks. The shows are completely different, so how can you honestly say that Happy Tree Friends is Jackass animated? That's so dumb.
He said it reminds him of Jackass because of just how inane and idiotic the show is. And you could enjoy Jackass and Happy Tree Friends for the same reasons, because they're just idiotic shows for the 12-year-olds of the world to enjoy. He completely skips over the next part of his video because it couldn't even be fucked to try and make narration on that. So he jumps to number 3, which is the entire Scooby-Doo franchise. But then get this. Just listen to how these two lines Phantom Strider says in succession.
After watching some of Mystery Incorporated, I can definitely agree it's taking the show in a more creative, story-driven direction, even giving Fred some character development. But in the 40-plus years this cartoon has been repeating itself, surely it should be innovating it by now. I think it owes it to the fans.
Now you probably thought he was saying something along the lines of, it's about time the creators gave us something slightly good, because they pretty much owe it to us by now. He's interpreting it like he's saying that Mystery Incorporated was good, then saying it's not.
Show in a more creative, story-driven direction, even giving Fred some character development.
So you put the entire franchise on the list, yet you still like Mystery Incorporated? If that's the case, then why didn't you put specific adaptations of Scooby-Doo instead of the entire fucking franchise?
But in the 40-plus years this cartoon has been repeating itself, surely it should be innovating it by now. I think it owes it to the fans.
Wasn't it you who just said that Mystery Incorporated was creative and story-driven?
You fucking troglodyte. You are starting to frustrate me with your alien grasp on interpreting things. I mean, seriously, he just said he sort of liked Mystery Incorporated. He's talking about the rest of the series. Only 1 out of 95 of the series he actually liked. So, you know, he's gonna recapitulate and summarize the whole series. He then rambles on contradicting himself, and I'm just gonna spare you because it's fucking dumb, and will honestly make you feel a little queasy. He then goes on to number 2, which is Regular Show, and then Phantom Strider recounts how his friend told him that the show is similar to Daria, in terms of how you'll enjoy the show. And then, not only does Doob act like it's Strider's point, but listen to this.
Anything.
Another awful comparison. Daria was a show about a misanthropic teenage girl dealing with high school and other issues. Regular Show is a show about two slackers working at a park and getting into weird situations all the time. These are two extremely different shows. But even then, your complaint on how Mordecai and Rigby not changing or doing anything is dumb, because again, they are slackers. That is their character. That they are lazy and don't feel like doing anything. I can't believe I really have to
I have so many problems with what you're just saying. First of all, it's not your words. You're reading directly off of the Wikipedia page, and you exposed yourself by mispronouncing misanthropic. You clearly don't know what that word means. This is the reason why I'm misanthropic. I don't even think I need to say it anymore, because it's just so prevalent and obvious to anyone in the world with a basic understanding of anything.
But even then, your complaint on how Mordecai and Rigby not changing or doing anything is dumb, because again, they are slackers. That is their character.
The reason why he doesn't like Regular Shows because Rigby and Mordecai seem too apathetic to him, and that annoys him because he doesn't think there will be any development on those characters. But somehow, MegaDoob misses this point to an astronomical degree. I mean, I like Regular Show, and I have my reasons. One of them is just how bizarre the show can get. This guy seems to be one of those people that just likes whatever he's told to like, because he doesn't seem to be able to give a real reason as to why he likes it, when there are tons of reasons to like Regular Show. It's bizarre, it's funny, the writing is cool, the voice acting is great, the animation is well stylized. It's very interesting, it has this weird tone to it. There are so many things you could be saying to help your case here, and instead you choose to showcase the one part of the show that's actually not likable. You're just repeating the Phantom Strider, what Phantom Strider said. You're making the show seem more unlikable because you say unlikable aspects of it.
There's this blasé acceptance and apathy in the characters that just makes me want to punch them. And the teen lingo always felt so forced to me.
Dude, that was lame. Bam! I told you I'm a better liar than you. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
People have been saying stuff like lame, dude, and other terms like that for years. I really don't get where you're coming from, dude.
What Strider is very clearly saying is that it doesn't seem natural to him as to how the slang is integrated. And while I don't agree with Strider on that point, Doop seems to think that Strider was saying the slang was outdated, when nowhere in that entire part was that brought up in the slightest. You fucking idiot! Do you hear yourself when you talk? Do you have a device in your brain that filters what you're hearing to what you want to hear? Was English your first language?
It's one thing to take some time out and chill. We all need that. But this desire in the characters to do absolutely nothing and accept whatever happens in this world just annoys me to no end.
What do you mean that they just accept what happens in their world? A lot of the conflict comes from them trying to fix or deal with some of the weird shit that happens to them. In fact, the episode Just Set Up the Chairs is a good example of this, in which they literally fight a fucking devil monster that shoots lasers out of its eyes.
Not even slightly close. A lot of the conflict occurs for the exact opposite reason. Because they're lazy. The conflict never occurs when a character is trying to do something important. It always occurs to them because such simple things in this world lead to detrimental results. They only try to fix things during the conflict. Do you know what conflict is? You know what conflict is, right? It's not the rising action to the conflict. It's the conflict. The big part. The most intense part of the whole story. They only try to fix things during things are happening to them, not before it. Except the hot dog episode, and that was because Rigby is lazily trying to fix something.
But this desire in the characters to do absolutely nothing and accept whatever happens in this world just annoys me to no end.
What do you mean that they just accept what happens in their world?
Didn't you say that Mordecai and Rigby are slackers just 40 seconds ago? And that they are lazy? And you're supposed to like them for that? So why are you getting so hostile and jumpy hearing what you just said right back to your face? Do you somehow disagree with your own opinion? That's gotta be a scientific paradox. Your very existence is a scientific paradox. How do you feel?
And the number one cartoon I hate that everyone else likes is Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I hate Ed, and Eddie. I have heard an astonishing amount of people claim that this is the number one best Cartoon Network show. Really? We've got Steven Universe.
No.
Do you think maybe you could give some sort of reason as to why you disagree? No? That's constructive. This is a criticism video you made. You don't think you should give some examples as to why you disagree? This video you made has about as much depth and maturity as the Super Minecraft Kids response video to why everyone should stop hating Minecraft.
And I just hate you all haters who think Minecraft's a bad fucking game! It's a bad fucking game!
Really? This is the best one? The cartoon from the geniuses behind Brothers Grunt about the three kids trying to get jawbreakers all the time?
So, most people who grew up watching this show probably didn't even know about the Brothers Grunt, and even if they did, that shouldn't matter.
It should matter a lot. What a person did in the past is likely going to be represented in their means, especially in art. People can change creatively, but with something as horrible as Brothers Grunt, you should be a little apprehensive.
Apparently, this was a true masterpiece by Cartoon Network to be remembered for the ages. I cannot understand what people like about this cartoon at all.
Well, they like it because of the humor, the writing, and the plot lines that occur in the show.
Such as what?
All the characters are just backstabbing and nasty to one another.
Well, yeah, but that's the point.
Oh, so these characters are reprehensible, but it's okay that they're reprehensible because they did it on purpose. Really, that's your justification. Are you saying that he can't not like a character because it's in the character? If that's literally what you think, then you are living proof that evolution can regress.
I found Eddie obnoxious and nasty and money-driven.
Dude, that is his character, though. That's the point of his character. That he's an obnoxious, greedy asshole, and that's also where most of his humor comes from.
You do realize how ridiculous you sound, right? I don't know what you're missing. Strider is saying he doesn't like Eddie because of his character, but you say that's because of it's in character with him, so you're supposed to like it. You repeat the reason slowly to you as to why he doesn't like Eddie, and still totally miss why he doesn't like Eddie. He doesn't like Eddie because of how he acts. He shouldn't like Eddie because of how he acts. You're saying he should like Eddie because he does unlikable things. What are you even trying to say? If you have a better explanation, please tell me.
Double D's okay, but he's always being manipulated by Eddie.
Didn't you say earlier that you found all of the 3 Eds unlikable? Now you think Double D is okay? I mean, seriously, do you even watch your videos?
This might be the most valid point he makes, but it's still very bungled. I think what Strider meant is that he doesn't like Ed's humor that much, and he doesn't find it very funny, and he doesn't think that there's much variations on it. I disagree with Strider in this regard because it make his stupidity somewhat charming. It is funny, and there is variation to it. But I don't see why you have to point out such a menial slip in Strider's understanding when this entire video is riddled with contradictions, interpretations made from thin air, idiocy, and logic so twisted it looks like a DNA strand.
The entire premise for each episode is just, what's the make money from Jawbreakers? Then they somehow lose it. And that got old within half an episode.
Not really, and it's at this point where I realize that you barely watch the show.
You're complaining that he barely watched the show when you clearly haven't seen the vast majority of his videos, and are so frustratingly ignorant to this.
There have been very few episodes in which they gain any money at all, and there have been many episodes where the main plot has barely anything to do with gaining money. Here is just a small list of some of these episodes. You can look up the plots yourself.
Oh yeah, these were some of the most well-loved, well-received episodes of the show. Sorry, Wrong Ed, what a classic. Not to mention how short this list is. There's only 21 entries. Either you were too lazy to find more episodes, or these were actually all the episodes where money wasn't involved. The show was on for 10 years, bro. Over 130 episodes. Are you telling me this is all you could find? You're not helping your case in defending this show.
And the setting is always their badly drawn, mucus-colored neighborhood.
And that is a problem. Why? I mean, this just seems like a really pointless nitpick.
Yeah, I mean, why would how a cartoon looks visually be important? You're saying how a cartoon is drawn and looks visually is a nitpick, but then you felt the need to point out such a trivial slip just less than a minute earlier. And don't tell me it was only a very brief, like 10 seconds long, because in Strider's video it was just as short.
Also, they had the school as a setting too, so it's not like it's just the neighborhood.
Yeah, these school settings, man, wow. That is fucking visually interesting. The school setting is not the main setting, the cul-de-sac is, and for most of the early episodes, it's always the cul-de-sac. They didn't introduce the school setting until later in the series, and the majority of the series takes place in the cul-de-sac.
The bully is one of the most obnoxious bullies I've ever seen in a cartoon. He's just a jerk because he's a jerk, with no actual character development or reason.
Expecting a show like Etta and Eddie to have character development is stupid because it is a slapstick comedy.
Alright, you at home, just on your computer, just pause it and read this, and then unpause it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, that is not character development in the slightest, because it's the last time we saw Kevin. They don't do anything else with Kevin's development because the series culminated in the movie. So Strider complaining that Kevin is not funny or likable or clever in his writing and is just a bully to be a bully is invalid because at the very, very last minute of the series, they make an obligatory minute character development because it was the end of the series, and they had to.
Expecting a show like Edda and Eddie to have character development is stupid because it is a slapstick comedy. The show isn't trying to tell a deep story or anything like that.
Okay, it really doesn't need to. This would all be acceptable if it was funny, but Strider thinks it fails because the show is not funny, and so he's left with the option of searching for something else to like about it. And because your show isn't trying to tell something deep doesn't mean your characters can't have some development or reason to care about them. And you can have an unlikable character in your show and not try to tell a deep story. Case in point, The Amazing World of Gumball. They do this perfectly. I mean, if you truly observe Gumball Watterson after Season 1, what have you got? He's a selfish asshole that doesn't give a shit about anyone else, he's disrespectful to his family and his friends, causes tons of chaos in the town, causes a lot of issues for his family, it's been confirmed he's going to hell, walks around naked in several episodes, and commits mass genocide, and also led a whole loaf of bread to commit mass suicide. Great. But the reason why this works is because it's a fucking hilarious show, and the show is funny. And there's actual variety in it.